When I came on and this was able to be my focus. You guys gave me my purpose. And I don't think that I realized it until you gave it to me. Like, I knew I wanted it because, like I said, you guys make me feel so good whenever I'm around. And so I just kept asking you for more. And when you said yes, it immediately, I just realized this is it. This is my purpose.
Today we are continuing the Eagle Ops story on our brand new Rally Point podcast.
Sir.
So super stoked about that. And we're going to take a little different perspective today. So today we're going to interview one of our mission coordinators and now managers, Ryan Bacon Nelson. And Ryan's been around for, I'll let him tell his story, but he's been around a few years and been involved with Eagle Ops through both sides. So starting out as just a Marine Corps veteran that come and join us, all the way to now helping Jessica and I continue the mission around the state of Oklahoma. So the story really is going to be about you today, Ryan. Or yeah. Bacon, as most know you. Yeah. So what made you say yes to Eagle Ops in the beginning?
Megan Lowry that drugged me to a rally point when she was like, you need you some Jesus, kind of a situation where I was in, and she just said, hey, you're going to come with me. And I was like, okay.
Another Marine Corps veteran.
Yes, yeah, another Marine Corps veteran. And she took me to a rally point. I mean, in 2020 when I came around, I was still in my 30s, so I felt like I was still a young veteran. Going to a veteran organization was not something that ever occurred to me like, oh yeah, no, I got another 40 years before I start thinking about those things, that kind of deal. And she was like, hey, you're going to come to an event with me. And I just said, okay. And it was a fire pit night at your house, in your front yard, on your driveway. And we got there, and there were just people standing around in your driveway, and you had a bunch of chairs. And I was like, what is this? And it was interesting. We just all were standing around talking, and I was like, okay. It didn't, like, at first I was like, oh, this is going to be weird. And immediately you came out and you're like, okay, we need a fire pit. I need the chimney at the back. And it was just like going back in the Marine Corps. It was like, all right, devil dogs, let's do this. And we all just ran to the back and we went to go grab stuff, and we're setting up chairs and we're moving everything. And nobody, like, it was just like, this is what needed to be done. And nobody batted an eye at helping or doing things. It was like, oh, objectives go. And, I remember it had rained the night before, and we went back and we picked up your chimenea, and as soon as we touched it, it just collapsed on itself. And I was like, they're never going to invite me back again. And so
I'm going to remind Jessica the story of Bacon. That was the first time you met us, right? That was the
first time I met you, and I broke me and one other veteran. I don't remember who it was, but we as soon as we picked it up, it just collapsed on itself.
Now that can be a whole nother episode of how many things that Bacon has broken over the years. So
I battle test everything. But yeah, I mean, that was what made me say yes. Is I got drugged to an event.
So that night, obviously that was the first time you met Jessica and I. That was the first night that you'd been to a rally point. What did you hear then, like, to our mission? Like, what did you hear that you can remember of our mission?
Honestly, I don't remember anything specifically about the mission from that night. I was so focused on the individuals. Like, I've been to so many rally points now that maybe it all kind of blurs together for me. But the thing I really remember from then is not the mission, but it was the fact that, like, I just rolled up with a group of people and was hanging out and talking. I mean, I'm generally a person that gets along with people. Like, I don't have a hard time making friends, that kind of stuff. But there's a difference between making acquaintances and then just having an interaction that just feels like old friends. Like you're just all talking. It's a totally different feel. And I didn't notice it in the moment, whatever. It was just like, oh man, that was a lot of fun. And then I came out I got invited from that rally point to the Freedom Shoots event. And of course, then I was hooked, shooting guns and getting a little crazy, and I'm kind of a goofball and I like to have a good time, and that was embraced, quite a bit in that whole scenario. That was during COVID, was all that was shutting down, and I of course showed up with a gas mask and shot the deal in the gas mask. Cause,
Shot better with the gas mask.
Yeah, with the gas mask on. Everybody thought it was hilarious and great. We had a good time, and it was just kind of one of those, oh, I can be me here.
Right. So leading into that, so for those of us who don't know you, and are the first time they're meeting you, obviously through this podcast, tell us a little about who you are, and obviously you just told us kind of the first connection with Eagle Ops, but just tell us a little bit about who you are, and give us some intel on you as far as the Marine Corps veteran side of things.
Marine Corps veteran. I went in 2001. I was actually in boot camp when 9/11 happened. So I like to say that I got to see an interesting perspective of, I saw both the Marine Corps before and after. Now, obviously I didn't see Fleet Marine Corps, but I saw boot camp as it was previous to that, and then how everything changed. While I was in, about halfway through is when it happened, and they switched gears. And so that was an interesting perspective going in, for one reason, because I was a punk kid. My dad's a real estate developer and kind of got all his shit together. Would you say, like, growing up, he was like, I didn't want to be anything when I grew up. I wanted to be my dad. Like, I didn't want a job. I didn't like all that stuff they pretend to be. Like, I didn't have any of that growing up. My whole life, all I wanted to do was just be him. And so I quickly learned, well, luckily, as much as a punk kid as I definitely was growing up, because I was definitely trouble for sure. I was also sometimes, and obviously when it mattered, introspective. And I realized as I was getting close to getting out, and I spent the summer after my junior year at my dad's, which I did every summer. My parents were divorced, and I realized that I was wholly unready for my dad's expectations of what I was going to be when I got out of high school to help him run his business and do all this stuff. And I was just like, I just kind of had a whole crazy kind of meltdown that summer about how I wasn't prepared for that. And I don't know really what specifically made me do it, but it was just like, I need to change who I am. And, how do I do that? And my stepdad was a Marine, and he, I guess, was probably the first thing that made me look at the military. And then I was asked to be a part of the Bigsby JROTC program and start that program in 2001, my senior year. So I was kind of in that whole world, and I was like, well, if I'm going to do something, go big or go home. So what's the hardest thing I can do? Join the military. What's the hardest military to join? The Marine Corps. Yeah, the longest boot camp, all that stuff. Before I knew anything, everybody says, that's the deal. So I said, okay, I'll be a Marine. And so that's why I joined the Marine Corps, was to change, better myself, just to prepare myself, not for the Marine Corps, but to be what I needed to be to become my father. And then 9/11 happened, and it was like, oh, we're going to do this for real now. So that was kind of my transition into that. And I ended up I went in originally to do kind of what you were doing, which was be a crew chief on Hueys. And because recruiters are awesome, he said, go in, open contract, I'll get you the job, Don't worry about it. And to his defense, he did get me the job. However, lots of people did that. So they're like, oh, we got all these people in here and we got too many people. So open contracts, you're going to go somewhere else. And so they sent a whole bunch of us out. I was either Motor T or NBC was my choices. And so I went NBC. And so for those who don't know, the military people probably do. It's the gas chamber guy, nuclear, biological, chemical defense specialist, which sounds way cooler than it is. It just means that I had to learn how all of the chemical and biological agents worked and that kind of stuff to be an advisor in times where you would need that. And then I got to run the gas chambers and torture everybody through that. So that was a fun part of it. I happen to be one of the few people who isn't impacted horribly by it. So like I won the Iron Man in the gas chamber because I can breathe and talk pretty well in it. And so whenever people would get in my gas chamber and they'd be, oh, I don't want to do that. And they don't want to pull the mask all the way and all that stuff. I just take my mask off in the middle of it and start giving the class and telling them what to do. And then they're like, oh, we're going to pull my mask up. So I enjoyed my time in the Marine Corps. I ended up going over as a QRF in 05 in Ramadi. I was one of the NBC guys on that deal. We all came back in one piece, all came back together with the exception of a couple minor injuries that came back early. But everybody came back in one piece. So I was very, very lucky, very thankful for that transition. And then I got out in 06.
So just kind of leading into that, where were you kind of in life before you connected with us? As you're having
with you guys, with ELOPS? I was in a transition, a long transition really, when in 2008, when the real estate development kind of all that came crashing down, they had the big real estate bubble and all that. I ended up moving back to Tulsa and trying to rebuild my life. And as I said before, it had never occurred to me be anything in my life other than doing real estate and building and, just working with my dad. And so I just kind of had a crisis of who I was without that. And I struggled for a long time. I went and did, more construction stuff. I started a security company. I did security work. I did a bunch of different things in that time frame. Just trying to kind of figure out what I wanted, what I was good at, what made me happy, that kind of stuff. And I was kind of towards the end of that time period where I don't know, I didn't know what I was supposed to be still, and I felt like I should have figured it out by now. I was so late in life. In 2020, I'm what the math on that is, but it was 6 years ago, so 30, what's math? 2, 4, 36. I was 36. I'm crayons. But yeah, I just feel like I should have figured it out. And so that's really kind of where I was when I came to you guys in life. All right, guys. So what you just heard, awesome story. I want to connect you to, if you are getting out, a top 5 resource guide that we've put together completely free for you. You click the link in the description. It will take you to a list. All of those resources are right there. If you have any further questions, should be super easy, but we can help you out with anything else you need to go. Just reach out.
So thinking about Eagle Ops on that one, what does Eagle Ops actually look like from the inside? Now you obviously you met us, you've been involved, now you're heavily involved with us now. So what's it look like, just aspect wise from your perspective on the inside of Eagle Ops and having to deal with Jessica and I and the evolution of our mission of, trying to connect, all the veterans of Oklahoma?
I guess, if we could break it down to like 3 separate portions of the inside. I started as the veteran, I became a difference maker, and then now as an outreach manager. As a veteran coming in, just being a veteran that's involved in stuff, it was kind of like I spoke on previously. It was just that you just immediately felt like familiar. Like, I think familiar is really good. Where people start talking and saying things you haven't heard in forever, and you're like, and it's just like, like, what did you just say? Like, I haven't, nobody's said that in, however long it's been since I got out, that kind of stuff. And so it was all of these things kind of like started to click, and that just made you feel like you belonged to something. It was just seemed right. Which is then why I started begging you to let me be a coordinator for the Freedom Shoots, because I wanted badly just to be more a part of it, and so I just wanted to give me more of a reason to tell my wife that I was going to spend more time, at the range and do all the stuff, and like, I got to be here. I'm volunteering, and all this stuff, but I just wanted it to be closer, and so I started doing that. And I think the biggest difference from the inside, especially then, like we talked about in your previous episodes, Jessica touched on, like, that we were this, like, just this group of families, these couples and stuff that were really kind of running the whole thing. And I remember, like, it was my first or second, it was right there when we first started, and I became part of the inner circle, as we called it. And I immediately was like, hey, I want to start a rally point, like, I have this idea, because I'm always like big ideas and stuff. And you were like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And it was just like this yes mentality, that I want to say it kind of took me by surprise, but I mean, now that I know you, like, it doesn't surprise me at all or whatever, but like, you were just like, yeah, do whatever. I'm just the new guy. And you're like, yeah, no, 100%, let's do it. And I was just like, oh, okay. You all excited. And so we started the Suck and the esports rally point that we have. And you really just let me run with that and kind of make it my baby and do that. And that you just right out the gate being like, yeah, here's the thing, do that. Yeah, you want that? Do it. Kind of set the precedence for how I felt about Eagle Ops and you guys and everything. It was just like, it's hanging on the wall at the office. Can it, will it, does it help veterans? And the answer is yes. And you live that 100%, and Eagle Ops lives that 100%. And I love that so much. 'Cause I'm a doer too. Like, I like to just do stuff and make things happen, often without thinking it through completely as well. But like, we'll just figure it out. Let's just go. And you definitely encourage that. So from that perspective, I just took that all inside. And then I was blessed enough that you guys asked me to be the outreach manager when you were able to do that. That changed everything for me.
Got him.
Wasn't expecting it right there.
So that actually is one of the questions here. What surprised you most about being involved? And I think you probably just hit it there. Just being surprised about that. Like, the mission means more to Jessica and I on that side of it, and less about like us trying to control things. It is 100% about, hey, if you are willing to do something and step up and take that action and create rally points and create that opportunity for other veterans, and other veterans will want to do that, then go, Does it, will it, can it help veterans? The answer is yes, right? So we're in. And so, and that is truly our heart and our mission, our passion as far as everything that we do. So, what do people misunderstand about this work? Like, what we do? Like, have you seen how, people may misunderstand how we go about things and the way we do things and just the work that we do, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, there's good and bad misunderstandings in that. I think, given how we do, kind of like, Jessica touched on in her episode, she talked about how, like, everybody's out there doing stuff and we're just having fun. Like, so like, oh, you volunteer and you get to shoot guns and you get to go wake surfing and you get to, your job is just playing. Like that's why you're there. So there's a little bit of that, I think. I mean, not that you get a lot of it, but it is there, from the outside going, oh, you just want to fund fun things for people. You know, what's the point of that? It's not a specific, oh, you're helping with this or whatever, that a lot of things are very focused on a specific issue. Because we try to build a community where, you know, I keep referring back to the previous episode. Jessica says so well that we're not broken, and so we don't want to be like, hey, here's the thing that we're gonna fix for you. It's, hey, bro, let's do fun stuff and let's have a good time. And what we're fixing is the inside, is the thing that we didn't, that it's missing, the holes or whatever it is, the pieces that you really miss of your time in the military, the camaraderie, the structure, just all of the connections from any part of all of that. It just kind of flows back into you, and all of a sudden you hear a lot, you don't know what you're missing till it's gone, and then it comes back, and you're like, oh, that's what that was, is that there wasn't anything there, you know what I mean? And and it's hard to explain to somebody who doesn't understand how significant just hanging out is. Like, just doing the fun things. You don't have to be working on something. The connections, the family is what heals the things and brings you to all of those other things.
Right. So what, over the years that you've been involved with us, what single rally point or what moment has really stuck with you?
Man, I don't know if there's a single one per se. I mean,
Jessica asked me the same question. I was like, I've got a few
yeah,
dozen.
yeah. I mean,
Not to just like cherry pick at this
yeah.
point. So.
I mean, obviously, I think Freedom Shoots is probably a good one. If I had to pick any one specifically, because you really see what I think we're striving to do, which is bring all veterans together. So your Vietnam guys, the older guys, and then, as we just demonstrated, one of our last rally, Freedom Shoots, is a guy straight out of the Marine Corps comes and wins and stuff like that. So like, you've got the newest of new veterans just out a couple months, and then the old guys, and they're all hanging out and talking together. And for sure, when I got out, that was not a thing. I mean, I've been to my share of the other. I say my share. I went to a couple other, veteran stuff when I got out, because I was like, oh, I'm a veteran, and it was like, I'm not that veteran, I'm not the old guy that's hanging out, drinking, smoking, or whatever. And so I just was like, oh, okay, that's for later. And it's the guys in between. If they make it to there, great, but it's the ones that get out and have all those problems and all that time in between that don't have a connection, that don't feel like that there's a place that they belong. Those are the people that we want to get in, because you want to get them upstream before they have the problems, so that they, we're not here to fix people's problems. Like I said, we want to keep those things from happening. We are a preventative organization. We want to stop all of that stuff upstream as much as possible. And I forget what your question was, but yeah, I mean, it's just
memorable rally points. I mean, that's...
Oh, the memorable rally point, because it brings all of that together. To me, that is probably one of the most visually, and golf nights too. I mean, I guess you see that a lot at golf nights too, but a lot of the older guys come out to the Freedom Shoots, not necessarily because, physical activity, swimming, golf club, but I just really like that we are bringing all of that together.
So this is kind of along those same lines. Someone whose life was impacted, tell a story that you have been involved in, that something that we've done, or,
I mean, steal Jeremiah's story. I'm not going to steal it, but I mean, like, that was probably my first, thing where I really saw a person just evolve in Eagle Ops. I mean, his transformation and from and again, you have to look at it retrospectively because I liked him from the moment I met him. He was just a cool dude. And
You're gonna have to tell a little bit more about his story because no one's heard that story.
He'll be on here, so I don't want to tell too much of his story. But he's an awesome dude who did some amazing things and struggled when he got out. And he was in a really bad place, and he got handed a card and said, "Hey, come hang out."
Come join us.
Reach one more card, and he came out to a Freedom Shoots, and he won, and that was the turning. He's the
very first one,
very first one on there, and that was he was like, oh, there are good things, and that was the turning point where he just kept showing up and doing all this stuff, and I've just seen him become. Not that he wasn't before, but just like him, the way he feels it now. Like I think I can see it in him that he's just an amazing individual. He's one of my coordinators. He runs the SOC for me now, so I mean that would be
and Freedom Shoots now.
Well, and he's on Freedom Shoots, and so he would be the first like big one that I really kind of from the beginning to the end. I feel like I had the pleasure of witnessing that change.
So you've led into this a little bit, but we're going to ask a very specific question is, why do you believe the mission matters right now?
There's just a lot of, maybe I see it less now, and partially a little bit of situational bias because we're involved in it, that I see that people are getting connected when they get out as opposed to being a downstream deal. But the numbers are wild. I mean, they change and go up so often that I don't even know what they are anymore. But the amount of people that we've lost to suicide and it just, or whatever it is back home, dwarfs the number of military that we've lost overseas in those deals. And I think that
100x.
Yeah, I mean, literally like 100x. It's crazy, and people. Oh, why do we have people overseas? Why do we do all this stuff? And they really kind of focus on that, but then they don't think about taking care of the veterans when they come back, because they don't see it. That all that other stuff's on the news, on TV all the time. Nobody's on TV talking every day about how 100 ex-veterans are dying at home, and that is just bonkers to me, because I want to say it's so easy to get connected, but like easier said than done. We just gotta, we don't see it, we don't feel it, and it's just that connection, like making sure that number goes down and that the people see that and know that that's a thing and something to care about.
Yeah, the crazy part of that is, me, I'm the numbers guy. And I'm not making light of this by any means. Less than 5,000 we lost in wartime in 20 years. From 2001 to 2021. In 20 years, we lost less than 5,000 in any war, any conflict, any training accident in DOD. Mm-hmm. We lose over 6,000 every single year since 2001 to suicide. Every single year. 6,000 plus. The number has not come down that significant. A few hundred here, a few hundred there, but it's not broke 6,000 since 2001. And organizations like us that are out there trying to work towards that number every single year, what? So my question on that side is, where's that number if we're not here?
Yeah.
Because how many thousands have we impacted to be able to help along the way? And it's still, the number's still that high.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's one of those deals where the work never ends. You've always got somewhere to grow and somewhere to go. And so
I don't have to ask this question because the next question is, what keeps you involved?
Oh, yeah.
I guess we just said it.
Yeah, for real. That's it. It's the more I go out and I see, and the more now over time, Jeremiah was the first, but I see more things that happen. the incident that we dealt with recently, just like the more I'm in it, the more things that I see, the more ways that the more ways I can help, the more reasons I need to work harder, um, to grow this thing. And you know, I laugh because we talked about transitioning this year, and before Christmas break, we talked about transitioning from growing to quality over quantity, and because we were getting it done, but we wanted to make sure that we did them to the best of our abilities, so that nobody squeaked through. That we did it, made sure that everybody who came to us and saw us saw what was available to them and plugged in. And then I took Christmas break to dig a hole into building all kinds of new stuff and everything like that, and expanded and everything. But like, I'm a builder just like you are, and like all I can see is there's the number of people that we can help is exponential. I mean, there's just so much that we can do. We have to be careful not to get lost in it and stay that, like we talked about, being the local home. Like, the community matters. It's not just about like you have vet ticks and things of those natures and stuff that, like, we do things for veterans, and Wounded Warrior, has a lot of money. They're so big. It's, they do a lot of stuff, a lot of amazing things for veterans. I don't talk about it, but it's very hard for them when you get so big to know all of, like you talked about, just a little bit bigger we got, like, oh, I don't know them anymore. And to make sure that we're building those communities so that as we back away from that, those communities are still there. So the person running that knows everybody and knows all that stuff, and building that really strong foundation is so important. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all that.
Definitely the focus, like you said, on us transitioning this year is more quality, trying to get the word out on that one, and focusing more on the community aspect, being intentional about each and every little thing, because it makes the difference.
Oh, 100%. It's the small things that absolutely matter.
And so the added question that kind of goes along with that would be, how has this community affected your life and the family's life?
In the family side?
Yours. Not yours, yeah, just your life in general. Yeah. I mean, obviously the family's affected as well.
Yeah. Well, as you got me earlier, it just, when I came on and this was able to be my focus. I mean, it just, you guys gave me my purpose, and I don't think that I realized it until you gave it to me. That, like, I knew I wanted it because, like I said, like, you guys make me feel so good whenever I'm around. You guys, Eagle Ops, all the people that I just, like, I don't know how else to explain it, but you just want it closer. You just want it inside you more. And so I just kept asking you for more. Like, I'm like, hey, can I have a business meeting with you guys? Figure out how I can come on, all that stuff. Like, I just wanted to do it more. And when you said yes, it immediately, I just realized this is it. This is my purpose. Like, I've always loved helping people. I've given up all my things, like this is a roundabout answer, but in the reason that I loved, working with my dad, and, like, he's a real estate developer and doing all this stuff. And so there's some of that convoluted with, like, the money and the stuff and the cool things. But when I look back at when I had lots of money and cool things, I spent it on all of my friends. Like, I used it to do fun things with them, or I had a friend who reached out after some time and was in a real bad spot. And I drove down to Texas and I snatched her out of a bad area, and I took her. I paid 6 months for an apartment complex. I furnished that apartment complex. I gave her some money to live on and said, get a job. Here's the deal, whatever, like, live on this, start your life over. And that's the best, I don't know, it was about 15 grand that I ever spent in my life. Like, I wouldn't take that back for anything. I've never spent money more well spent, because I can look at her now and see the life that she's living, and that makes me happier than anything. And so, like, when I think about wanting things and wanting money and trying to, like, get stuff, it's all so that I can be in a better position to help people. It opens doors. It allows you to help more people. And that's why you want money. That's why I want money, is so that I can enjoy, experience happiness, and give happiness to other people.
Well, sorry we couldn't give you a whole lot of money. But we
I
certainly
don't
could
get
give you
that
the
part. I
community.
don't get that part. But when I originally, I thought money was what I was chasing, what I wanted in life, because my dad was a multimillionaire and did all that stuff, and it was success. That's how he measured success. And so I loved building and doing and everything, but it always kind of felt like I wasn't fulfilled in that. Like, I mean, I wanted to be like him, but I didn't have the drive per se to do all of it. I love doing it with him, but that's why I love doing it, was with him, not necessarily because I was, doing construction or whatever, that kind of stuff. And I mean, being a part of Eagle Ops is, I wake up every day and I think about it. I go to bed every night thinking about what I can do. I'm at home on the weekends thinking about what, how we can change things. I'm never, my wife gets mad at me because we go on Christmas vacation, and I worked the whole Christmas vacation. I'm on the phone doing stuff, making things, because I just love it. There's nothing about it that is work for me. And so to go back to your question, which is how has it changed me, is it just gave me my purpose back, and happiness. I mean, that's really, my family gives me happiness, but like that, that purpose inside you that gives you that happiness that nobody externally can give you. That's what Eagle Ops has done for me. And so that has both made my life with my family better and probably a little more stressful for them, because I focus a lot on helping, and sometimes that takes me away from home more than they would like, but also their understanding of me and how much I love that.
So this is a good one. You may have to think about this one. I know I would have to if I was asked this one. So how has Eagle Ops changed how you see service or leadership?
Service or leadership? I think how I see service on that portion is, how do I word this? I don't, like, before I think I saw service as, when I looked at, before I met you guys, whatever, it was like, oh, are you going to work for a nonprofit? No. No, that's not something that I'm interested in at all, because it was like, well, I don't have time for that. I'll just give them, I'll make a bunch of money and give them, $100,000, and that's way more than, blah, blah, blah. And that's my service, that kind of a deal. It's just a thing that people do to make themselves feel better in front of other people. Kind of like that, that's how I looked at it. As when you think of service, like nonprofits and going out and people that are doing things for people, it was just like, oh, it's not really for them. It's so that they look good to people. Like, that's why you do that. Otherwise you just make money and, and throw money at it because that's what fixes everything. That's kind of how I saw that before. And now, obviously, I feel like I'm blessed in that none of it feels like service. Like, it's just, I love doing it. I want to do it. It's not a labor. It's service. You feel like, oh, you're in service of, it's a labor of doing something. And we don't do this because it's work. If we did, we would probably not be doing it anymore. When it feels like work is, they call it burnout. You just do so much that you're like, okay, it feels like work. But luckily I haven't hit that point yet. I love every bit of it. So, I think service is about, I don't know. I think the people who do it, it's not about, it's about the people. It's not about the action or what you're doing for something. It's about the outcome, the goal, the people that you're helping. That's what service is. The other part of that, which was, what was the second part? I forget.
Leadership. How it's changed, or leadership. Yeah.
So the leadership, I think, obviously, in the Marine Corps, we think of leadership, and I've thought a lot about what makes a good leader, what makes a bad leader. The basic that you could listen to a million podcasts to tell you how to be a good leader. And I think that I think from you, I mean, obviously I think of you as, one of my best friends, but also the only other person that I've looked to as a mentor other than my father is like a person that I strive to be like. And your leadership is just, you're not doing a job. It's not, again, it's leadership isn't telling people what to do, that kind of stuff. It's just, you do a thing and people want to follow it. And to be the leader, not just lead people or command people. It's you just are, and people then do through you. And it's just for a long time I saw leaders as just being at the top, and you're going to lead and you're going to tell everybody what to do and all that kind of stuff, and get things done, not necessarily in a bad way, but just like that's where you are. And I just think that a lot of times, and I see in here is the person on the bottom, even though you're at the top, you're doing the same shit that all the rest of us are doing. You're not out there standing around barking orders, telling everyone what to do. Like, you're doing it, and we're all trying to keep up. like we're here. We're supposed to be helping. You're not the person that's supposed to be doing all this and that. And so that's that whole, like, you just are, and we do because we'll feel bad if we don't, like, oh my God, we got to work harder. You just set the example, and that's the type of leader that I want to be.
I think Jessica wrote these questions. Sorry about that. This was not supposed to be turned like that. All right, folks. Well, Bacon, thank you for telling your story, and we appreciate your candor and giving us your heart and telling us a little bit about your story. And we will be doing more of these stories in future podcasts. So looking forward to being able to interview some more veterans that Eagle Ops has impacted their lives. If you want to get involved, eagleops.org. Come check us out there at eagleops.org. That's the best way to connect with the entire team, find out what we've got going on. If you're looking for an upcoming rally point to get involved, eagleops.org/calendar. Is the best way to be able to find that and get plugged into the next rally point. And we will see you at the next rally point.